Raghunath, are you ready for this?
What?
The wisdom of the sages trainings that are going on.
Where?
At the Eco Village, the Govardhan Eco Village in India.
Why?
To totally transform your life spiritually.
Who?
You, me, Radha Swami's going to be there. Other great teachers are going to be there. Lots of cool people.
How?
You go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. You find all the information there.
Haribo.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We got Kaustubha back. He took a little day off yesterday, and we had a beautiful makeover Monday without you, Kaustubha. Missed you dearly. Wasn't the same, of course. It was all squirrels all day. I'm on day 7 of my cleanse. I'm doing really, really good. I've been an hour. I've already jogged. I've already done pranayama. Already took my cold shower.
What does your cleanse consist of?
You know what? I don't even do well with juices. I'm just doing like water and broth.
Oh, water and broth. That's all you're eating.
Tea and some tea.
All right. 7 days of that.
Day 7 of this.
I was going to bring you some donut plant donuts up there tonight, but
and you know what I say? I say namaste. Thank you, brother, but no.
No.
Beautiful, but not what I need.
Okay.
Beautiful, but not what I need today.
Okay.
That's my mantra.
I was going to do it too. I've never done that before, but I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to make you happy.
Ramad Devi says, when did you wake up? 4 a.m.? How did you jog? You know why? I only jog for 12 minutes, but I jog very fast. It's more like
That's not called jogging.
Whatever. It's like a sprint. I sprint, but I do it for 12 minutes in the morning, and 12 minutes in the evening.
All right. That's part of the cleanse?
That's just part of my ritual.
Good for you, Raghunath.
And you know what I find is you add one good thing to your life, and then you just want to try another good thing, and you just keep on screwing around with all these modalities.
Okay.
And my kids are fired up. Moses is fired up. Me and Mara are gonna, when I break it, me and Mara are gonna do 1 week of raw foods.
Oh.
And we're excited.
Okay.
I was text messaging her vegan raw food lasagna recipes last night at midnight. That was the last thing I did before I went to bed.
Yeah.
Like, Mara, can we make this? Boom, send.
Can we make this? Yeah.
Right. So good. I'm operating on 5. But when you have nothing to eat, you have nothing to digest. So I don't need so much sleep either. I only slept 5 hours. I feel good.
Like a Sattvic powerhouse here now, Raghunath.
A Sattvic powerhouse.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I should be a little bit more. I am a little bit calmer, but I still get worked up. I can't figure myself out.
Okay.
So we plowed through. We started Bruce Lee week without you.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go?
Pretty good. I think it was pretty good, but that's me just tooting my own horn like usual. You'd have to hear
even Bruce.
Oh, how was Bruce? Bruce was good. Bruce is good. He's a good man with good things to say. He was one of those, I call it refined Rajasic. He's a warrior, but they're not just thugs. They're like incredibly disciplined in the same way people are disciplined with their pujas or their worships or with their, with their lifestyle, but for like bettering themselves towards self-defense and truthfully
self-realization,
self-offense and self-realization. Yeah, he was a deep something or other. I don't know what he was. Taoist? I'm not quite sure.
Okay. Anyway, should we check it, see if we have any announcements, and then check in with Bruce?
Yeah. What's up, Mayor? What's the latest?
Well, today we have Bhakti Recovery Group meetings. The men meet together at 1 and the women meet together at 2.
We're sort of
in between asana weeks, trying to figure out the fall schedule for that. So
Okay.
We'll have
Alrighty.
that soon.
That's good.
Mhm.
Alrighty. Here's Bruce.
Okay.
Nugget. If there is a God, he is within. You don't ask God to give you things. You depend on God for your inner theme. Don't cheat yourself out of something higher. Huh? Don't cheat yourself from asking God for stuff. You can buy stuff. You can put stuff on a credit card. God can give you. There's that famous verse by Rupa Goswami, that we really like. Here's my paraphrase. If you really love your family, your work, your business, if you really love all that stuff, I've got an important warning for you. Don't go to Vrindavan. Don't go to the Yamuna River. Don't go see that young boy playing on his flute. Because once you see Krishna, you will fall in love with him, and all those things that you cherish will seem not so important anymore.
Okay.
This is we ask for Krishna, love of God, and Krishna can give that. But if you ask anything else, if you ask for new shoes, he'll give you that. Why cheat yourself out of love of God when you can get, right?
Yes, and I appreciate all of that. I'm seeing something in this.
What do you see?
Well, what I'm seeing is, and it's not unrelated to what you're saying, but I think I don't want to disparage like Christianity or something. I'm all for Christianity, like, and it's authentic.
Not I.
You
were setting me up like I am. I love it. I'm more
no,
Christian than
it had nothing
anybody
to do
here
with you,
except
Raghunath.
Thomas Harry Ball.
Why do you say, I'm just speaking, I'm not, this is in no way a judgment of you. Okay?
Me and Thomas Harry Ball are the most Christian Harry Christians there are.
Thomas
Harry Ball. Who else could we be?
Okay, but here's my point, is that I think that something happened somehow in the history of Christianity. And it happens in all traditions in one way or another, but this idea came where it became about like being saved, and it became that this, I guess, theory or idea that I'm sinful and I can't change. I just need to be saved.
It's like a condemned soul.
Condemned and condemned to the point where you even give up the idea of actually transform. I'm not saying this is what Christianity is, but I'm saying for many, it's how it is preached. We are sinful, just accept it, surrender to God, and you're saved. No, really, all of these spiritual paths are meant for internal transformation. You were meant to like look within, do some serious work, and transform. And so what he's saying here, he says, if there's a God, he is within. Right. In other words, it has to do with looking within, not without, not asking God for external things. What can you give me? What is it that can make my life more pleasurable or more comfortable? That's not what these spiritual paths are about. And then he says it right here. I thought it was an interesting way to phrase it. You depend on God for what? For your inner theme. Right. In other words, maybe my inner theme. What is my inner? Do I even contemplate what is my inner theme? What do I think about? What do I desire? Where are my thoughts? Where does my mind spend all its time? What kind of thoughts does it busy itself with? He's saying that inner theme needs to be addressed. That's really what life is all about. That's really what our understanding about God is all about. Is how will my thoughts and my inner life transform? And if you can change, and when you have that idea, then all of this, whether you see, what is prayer if you see God as like the one that's giving you external things? Then it's just like, I'm this little person, give me this, give me that. It's like
Amazon Prime.
Emotionally and spiritually, you're like a child, right? Just give me this, give me that. You're meant to mature, right? And you're,
that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
You're like a child. What is a child's relationship with a parent?
Yeah, give me this.
Give me this. Give me this. Give me. There's a time when a child becomes a man when they say, "Let me give back."
Yeah, right. And what kind of person am I going to be, and what am I going to make of my life? So that inner theme, we're reading right now about Shiva, and he's speaking to the Prachetas, who are like these young yogis, and they're preparing themselves for a life of responsibility. But before they do it, he's giving them this meditation, right? He's saying, God is within all of you. Now bring yourself internally to him. connect with him, within. And then you'll come out of that. They're going to go into the water to meditate. When you come out, you're going to be different people. You're going to be transformed. You're going to be prepared to handle anything.
Mm.
So I like, it seems like Bruce Lee, honestly, I don't think I ever watched one Bruce Lee film in my life.
You know what's crazy? I don't think I've ever either.
Okay. A lot of people were really
I'm
into
sure a
it.
lot of people like, are you kidding? You're into
Yeah.
martial arts and never watched Bruce? No. I've watched highlights on YouTube.
Okay.
And I've never like seen a whole Bruce Lee movie.
But what I get is that, a lot of his, a lot of what was he? He practiced Kung Fu?
He did a little bit of everything. I know his own system is called Jeet Kune Do, JKD.
Okay.
And I did jujitsu with his partner, Bruce Lee's partner.
Okay.
Because he started this school with his partner, and he's still got a school in LA.
But what is his martial
I
arts?
think he's got a merge of many styles.
Is it tied to some kind of like warriors of the past, or some kind of particular, like
you're asking a guy who
ninjas or
never
this or
saw
that?
one Bruce Lee movie?
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
if it would even come out in the movies, but like I thought maybe in his background, So in any case, it has to do with preparing yourself to handle anything, right? Like in other
Mara
words,
Bruce Lee, Wikipedia, please.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
She's pretty on it there today.
Yeah. It
It's
doesn't
cleanse.
look.
You're on the cleanse too.
No, I'm not. But I am
Okay.
gonna go.
But
on their
even
after
Rogu's
party
cleanse is
soon.
affecting you right now. You're just,
Exactly. Well, not having you here yesterday, because Stuba had to be on my game.
Okay.
Yeah, I put a lot of pressure on her.
His early martial arts experience included Wing Chun, Tai Chi, boxing, and frequent street fighting.
No, there's a little frequency.
Boxing and street fighting.
All right.
What?
But
That's it?
like
Wing Chun and
my
Tai Chi?
my question had more to do with like, does it tie back to some kind of ancient,
Well, street fighting is pretty ancient.
no,
I've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, I think the answer is no. It doesn't. Not that I can find on Wikipedia anyway.
okay. In any case, my point being is that he seems like a very well prepared guy.
He's well prepared, yes.
And so, we can prepare ourselves. We can elevate ourselves. We can transform ourselves. But that's inner work. It's the external is all about how it affects the internal. That's what the yoga is all about. What is the asana about, right? Yes, it makes you healthier. Yes, it has a bodily effect, right? But that bodily effect, its whole purpose for the true yogis was not to look sexier. It wasn't even exactly to be healthier, but it was to be healthier for a purpose. It was, that what was the purification within the body was creating a lucid mind. And that lucid mind can go within, can contemplate things. The weaker mind is just like, it doesn't have the power, the strength to go within. It just gets lost in the external things and gets trapped in scrolling and food and sleep and that kind of duller awareness. You can see he wasn't a dull person. He was sharp. He was focused.
Sharp, internal focus, and spiritual.
Yeah. All right.
Bruce Lee.
Thank you, Bruce.
Taoist. He was a Taoist. Jeff
Okay.
Eisenberg says. All right. When you want to dive into the sweet nectar here?
I'm ready.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and the Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshvabhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati tamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the Supreme Lord, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know what I was saying yesterday, Kostuva? Just I just got I got a little squirrel, which was sort of, we're not in debt to our teachers. We're in debt to our teacher's teacher and our teacher's teacher's teacher and our teacher's teacher's teacher. This concept of like, we are so incredibly lucky. It's like we won the lottery. If all these things didn't work out perfectly, where our great great grand teacher didn't meet his great 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 grand teacher, it might not have ended up on our laps today. But this incredible chain of disciplic succession, everything worked out just so beautifully that it landed on the Lower East Side for you and me to receive this message. You ever think about it like that? Unless all these other perfect synchronicities happened, unless it was just destined to happen. But otherwise, it's an amazing thing that we have debts to all these people because they've all contributed somehow to wherever we are today.
Thank you for sharing that, Raghunath.
You're welcome.
Okay. You ready?
Okay. We are Canto 4, chapter 24, text 66, right, Mara? Did we make it to 66?
Yeah, I think we read 66.
We read 66, all right. 67. My dear Lord, any learned person knows that unless he worships you, his entire life is spoiled. Knowing this, how could he give up worshiping your lotus feet? Even our father and spiritual master, Lord Brahma, unhesitatingly worshipped you, and the 14 Manus followed his footsteps. What analogy does this remind you of, Kasiva?
What part of it?
The first line I read.
Any learned person knows that unless he worships you, his entire life is spoiled. Analogy, I'm not sure.
You know how Prabhupada would say, it's like you have so many wonderful
Zeros.
qualities. You're a great artist. You're a great photographer. You're a great musician. You're a great poet. You're intellectual. You're very from a good family. You're well-to-do. You have all those things are a long list of zeros, and they don't add up to anything because soon we're going to be dead. But if we put that Krishna, that one, in front of those zeros, it's like 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. All our good qualities in this material world mean nothing in the material world. They're used to, give a little love maybe while we're here with a small L, and then we die. Maybe just they're there for our ego, and then we die. When we put Krishna there, we take all those great qualities and focus them at Krishna, and then that love is free to go everywhere. This is the power of adding that one to our life. So that can sound sort of extreme. If you were to read this, like if this is the first time you listen to Wisdom of the Sages and you read, my dear Lord, any learned person knows that unless he worships you, your life is spoiled. That sounds a little like fundamentalist, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. So let's discuss this. And I think even the word worship here, I think the way that our minds are trained through our religious experience that we grow up with, and through film and television and so on, we get this. I think when we hear that word worship, it almost feels like some kind of I don't know exactly what word I'm looking for, but it's like belittling yourself before some fictional higher power, right? And you get tricked into this position through fear or through guilt. And in doing so, you make yourself, it's really all kind of like a plot for like governments or religions to kind of get you under control, right? And now they can begin to dictate to you like how you should live and so on, something like that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that, I think for a lot of people that word worship is going to have that kind of connotation or trigger, you could say.
Subjugate yourself to the deity. It triggers a lot of Christian almost like
self-deprecating
in the name of loving, self-deprecating.
Yeah. And so, but Shiva is not seeing it like he doesn't have those issues. He's not weak psychologically.
He doesn't get triggered easily.
No, I mean, we've read about him, right? Like we saw earlier in the third canto where he was just being insulted by these powerful people. He just, it meant nothing to him. He was entirely untouched by it. And then eventually they all have to come back to him. He's just sitting there like, like their whole world starts to fall apart due to their insults to him. And he's just sitting there calm as ever, and they're all come back. He's just patiently waited for them to come around. It's like he's like, what to speak of, his power and so on. He's an incredibly impressive person, and as a yogi, as his sense of control, he's not a person that has some kind of weakness psychologically or something like that. But he's just saying that, but there's something going on here that learned people understand. Here the word pandita is used, right, which has kind of been brought into the English language. But someone that's learned, somebody that knows the subject, they're looking at life and they're trying to understand what it's all about, right? They're looking at it, they're analyzing it. What is going on here? Where does this all come from? Where does it all go? And they're looking for the root of it, and they're identifying the root of it. And then he's saying, unless you worship that root, then your life is spoiled. You haven't used it the way its potential was never met, right?
There you go. That's a better way. That's
spoiled, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like something.
Yeah. We haven't fully lived up to our potential because it's part of us. If you spend your life building a ship, but you just never put it in the water, it's like, it's a beautiful ship, man. That's a good analogy, right? It's a very beautiful ship. Just now float the damn thing.
Yeah. Or like if something spoils, like, like you have something in the refrigerator, like, so there's some milk in there, some of that, and you never take it out and use it, and it spoils. You had an opportunity, its potential was never met. And so he's saying that that's what life is like. Learned people kind of recognize that there's a point to this, that something beautiful is meant to happen. And if you don't make that connection, then it was spoiled. And so then he goes into this more into worshiping, knowing this. How could he give up worshiping your lotus feet? How could a learned person do that? He backs it up. He says, look, it's not just me that's saying this. It started with Brahma, who's his father, but he's more than his father. He's like the engineer of the universe. It's like if someone's got some clues as to like what's going on here, it's him. He was born from the lotus, growing from Vishnu himself. He went into deep meditation.
Good name for a band. Born from the lotus.
We're born from the lotus, from Bayonne, New Jersey.
Bayonne.
And so we've read about that, how he's the first being in the universe, how he's sitting there alone in the darkness. He goes into deep meditation. He has a vision of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu instructs him about what the universe is all about. So he's kind of like, if you want an authority as to what is the purpose of this universe and our place in it, that's a good place to start. And then he goes, the sons of Brahma, the Manus, right? Each one is responsible for a massive time period. He's saying this has been handed down by those authorities, those people that really understood what was going on. We're so far removed from that, we can kind of lose touch from it. He's going right there. But I was thinking about this word worship, because I do think it has these negative connotations, right? And I looked it up. You ready?
Did you?
So it says the feeling or expression, right? It's something that you feel or it's something that you express, of reverence and adoration for a deity. Okay. And now, so it's a feeling or expression of reverence or adoration. You look up the word reverence. It means a deep respect for someone or something. Okay. So worship means respect, and worship means adoration. If we look up adoration, it means deep love and respect. So like we may feel like, look, man, I'm not going to worship, but I don't think any of us says, like, I don't want to have deep love or deep respect, right? And the question is, where is it directed? And so Brahma's saying here is like, those that have never developed their deep love or deep respect, never felt it, never expressed it, right? That's worship. That if you go through this life and you don't recognize that this whole universe is engineered for me to develop deep respect and deep love, right? Capable to feel deep respect and deep love. For who? Well, here he's saying that it's directed to Vishnu or to Krishna, but the whole concept is why that being rather than any other being, right? Why that one? Why is that being identified as the object of respect and deep love? Because through that being is the root. Through that being, you feel deep respect and love for every living being. Then you've actually understood that. Then you haven't spoiled, right? It's like
Right.
then what was meant to happen by this universe happened. You developed love for every living being. You developed respect for every living being. You got the message. You learned the lesson. You transcended this world. You broke the selfish cycles that we've been in for we don't know how many lifetimes. You understood everything. So if we see it that way, analyze it that way, it's again, it's the language and so on. It may trigger. It may feel like just religious, the same religious crap we've been hearing for so long that has no appeal, that seems to be demanding that I denigrate myself. It's not saying that. It's saying actually reach your potential, become deeply loving, deeply respectful for every living being. That's what we're meant to learn. That's what the world is built for. There's nice commentary here if you have to read some.
You want to read the commentary a little?
Yeah, why don't we go for that?
All right. The word pundit means wise man. Who is actually wise? The wise is described in the Bhagavad Gita 7:19. It's a great verse. By the way, Tarun's learned 3.5 verses already.
Oh, very good.
He's on a roll. He's on a roll.
Right.
He's learning 7:7. That's what reminded me of this. You should learn this one. This is a good one. Bahunam janamamante gyanavamam prapadyante vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare.
No. So yeah, I understood what the world. I got the lessons from the world. I put it all together, and then I identified the root of it all. It's someone that pulls that off in life is a rare soul, right?
Would you say that anybody here listening on Zoom or listening to this podcast have gone through many lives and birth and death just to get to this point where we're even interested in this stuff?
And I think we all have.
I guess, but then, and again, everybody's been through many births and deaths, but after it seems, when I read that verse, it also seems like after many births and deaths of just being frustrated with matter, because everybody's been through many births and deaths.
Well, I think here it's also indicating many births and deaths of practicing yoga, like even Jnana yoga, right? Like in other words, after many births and deaths, then one becomes Jnanavan, right? Like I may have even wandered off to the forest and practiced Jnana yoga for many births and deaths. Okay. But at a certain point, you become Jnanavan. I'm not saying it only means that, but I'm saying I believe it has been interpreted that way by some of the great teachers of this. Those are very difficult paths that can go on. But then when you finally get there, when you really get there, then something becomes clear. Oh, there is a root to all of this, and that root actually has a personality, right? I have personality, so I don't have more than the root. The root is all coming. That it's not like the sunlight has something that the sun doesn't have. Right, all of its qualities, all of its energy is coming from the origin. The origin has more of it than what emanates from the origin, and so we have personality, we have individuality, we have will, and so on. So that's coming from a source that also has personality, individuality, will. And so when you finally understand everything, then you connect with that source. It could take many lifetimes.
Yeah. It's time. It's a lesson learning process. I have this conviction, whatever I'm struggling with, I repeat it until I have to learn. Unless I learn from it, it will come back. It'll come back in another form. Doesn't mean that same person will come back into my life, but that same situation will come back. It'll come from the universe will send some other being. If I just say, nope, I was right, you're wrong, this relationship is over, that thing will reappear until I learn a lesson. And I think that can extend into lifetimes.
Well, you know what they say. You have two choices. You either evolve or you repeat. Right?
Evolve and repeat. Evolve and
Evolve,
repeat. Evolve and
evolve,
repeat.
repeat. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Okay.
it's amazing. Yeah. I mean, it is a wonderful thing to actually to look at life, right? To be able, I don't know if slow down is the right word, but to slow down enough that we actually begin to think about, like, hold it. What, in other words, to get off the, what do they call it? The gerbil thing that's running around on,
Hamster wheel.
the hamster wheel. Thank you, Mara. Mara is on it today. Look at that, man. She was, yeah, hamster wheel, like she was just waiting to bust that out. Yeah, you're on the hamster wheel and you're just running after pleasure, running after the gratification of the senses and so on. Most of us don't stop running, and we just keep running the whole life, and without thinking,
And
what am I meant to learn?
it has no end game. There's no end game. There's no finish line in the
Yeah.
race.
Yeah, right.
And we're on our deathbed saying, but I have so much to do.
Right. Mhm. Do you ever feel like that hamster when you're running on that thing for 12 minutes?
On the treadmill? No, I'm very present. I'm very much in the now on the treadmill.
That's some of your most powerful moments on that treadmill, I think. Right?
Yes. I was listening to like Chaitanya Bhagavat this morning
Say that?
on that treadmill.
Nice. Let's continue. You want to keep reading this purport?
Yeah. So after, thus, when the wise man actually becomes wise, after many births and whimsical attempts at self-realization. What's a whimsical attempt? It means I try with my own insight. Man, I think this will help me become wiser. I think this will help me become wiser. It's just whimsical. Unless we fall in line with one of these, like we were saying earlier, this great chain of masters who can actually deliver the key to get yourself out of the trunk that you're locked in. We're like locked in a trunk or locked in a vault.
Trapped down under?
Trapped down under, perhaps. We're tied up. And the guru comes along with sort of unties us, actually. Guru comes as a messenger. And once we get that and we have that good, it's also time, place, and circumstance that might not have happened, perhaps, in a different time, in a different place, a different circumstance. We might just have to do. It's interesting to think like some lives are fully spent just fully doing time. Fully, and you got to do that time just to get through it. And there's some lesson there that you're going to bring some samskara to your next life. And this life that I think is so important is just a tiny step in the massive stairway, and I just have to do it. And it might be right. There might be a situation where I'm not surrounded by spiritual people. Spiritual wisdom might not be part of the culture I'm in. It might just be some tough luck, so to speak, that we have to deal with in this life.
It's very interesting, Raghunath. I like the way that you're expressing that, but just, we hear this in these texts, but it's so hard for us to appreciate it, I think, the rarity of human life, the opportunity that's offered in it, right? How many species there are.
Prabhupada speaks of it a lot. And this is going to sound like a heretic.
Okay.
Prabhupada would say,
what are you going to say?
Like, okay, here he goes. It's going to sound like a heretic because Prabhupada will say, people waste this rare human life. The soul works its way through 8,432,000 species of life. Then it comes to a human life. In my mind, I don't take that seriously. I say, you know what? Whatever it is, I got to work on this life. I don't want to think of like what I'm going to be in my next life. That being said, if all those things are true, like we've actually worked our way up to this rare human life, then it is imperative that we don't go back into another species of fear and suffering and anxiety and helplessness, where there actually is no real choice because we're not actually God conscious. We're acting only on instinct.
Yeah, well, I don't see the.
Did that sound like a heretic?
No, I don't see what the difference is in what you said. In other words, you're just saying
because I
don't
take it seriously. I don't take it seriously. Yeah, I'm gonna become a frog in my next life if I keep.
But even without taking it to that, envisioning what you might be in your next life. My point is just right here, right now, we can look around and see. Okay, there's a lot of varieties of bodies out there, right?
Yeah.
A vast amount. Within each of those bodies, how many of them have the opportunity to deeply contemplate what the purpose of life is, to decide, I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to take control. I'm going to do something about it. In how many of those forms is that opportunity available? It appears that it's only available in one form, at least in general, right? There might be some rare, exceptions, but in general, it seems like the human form is the only form that grants one that ability. And therefore, these great texts like Yoga Sutras or Vedanta Sutra begin with that atato brahma jignasa, atato yoga anushasana. Now is the time, right? You're in that human body. This is like you say, it's imperative, right? What does imperative mean, Mary? Let's look that one up. But it's like, it is the one important thing, right? It is the priority. It is like the what do we got?
Of vital importance or crucial.
Yeah, it's crucial, right?
An essential or urgent thing is another definition if it's a noun.
Okay, so it's crucial, it's urgent, right? It's very limited how much time we have in this body. How are we going to use it? The sages were encouraging us to think like this, right? They're trying to say, like, if you could zoom out a little bit, you would understand that the circumstance that you're in right now is very favorable, and it is, and the clock on it is ticking away rapidly. So how are you going to use that time? Think about this carefully.
Shelter song, by the way.
Oh, what do you got?
Time's ticking away.
Time's ticking away. Can you share some?
Keep talking. I'll look it up.
Okay.
I can't think of that.
What do you do when you're on stage? I guess it all just comes to you.
I don't know.
How do you remember? Do you bring your computer up there with you? Hold it 1 second, you scroll. Any case, they're saying it's like that. It is rare. It's super valuable. It's urgent. It's crucial. It's imperative. And we're letting it slip away. So don't be whimsical. Use this crucial time in the best way possible. If you think that way, I know, like, a lot of our listeners, they're thinking, hey, I'm into bhakti, I like this, but unfortunately I'm in this circumstance, right? Unfortunately, I don't live around people that practice it very much. Okay, that's a challenge, no question, or unfortunately I'm kind of locked into a certain lifestyle and a certain family and a certain occupation and so on that seems to be unfavorable for this. And that can be depressing. That can be, one might think, well, it's just too much. I don't think I'm going to be able to overcome it. I don't feel strong enough to overcome my circumstance. But actually, you can zoom out a little bit and say, no, don't think of your circumstances like unfavorable. Actually, you've got a very rare opportunity right now. You're in the human form, and you've tuned yourself into bhakti. You're on the fast track. Don't let anything discourage you right now. Find what you need and keep moving forward. We're close, What do you got, Roger? Still haven't found it, or you
I did.
Lost down, or you're going down.
We gave into our passions, but we're never satisfied, and all the public pressure made us only live a lie. Gave into scripting persons who never wished our best. How much will we give in till we become what we detest? So I've got to say, time's ticking away. Let's take our own success into our hands. Let's start taking command. All our short-term pleasure is our driving force in life, which leads us to more suffering, tragedy, and vice. And we all become victims. Only few are safe. So we must take control before we become total slaves. So I've got to say, let's start. I got to say, time's ticking away. Let's take. Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, come on. That last line, you're building up to something there, right?
That was it.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
That was great. Thank you for that.
It was reasonable. Yeah.
You're not fully satisfied with it?
No, I got to figure out where my head was at when I wrote that. Okay.
What record was that on?
I can't even remember. I think Beyond Planet Earth.
Okay, I think it was good. Right? I like
good name for album though. Beyond Planet Earth.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Crazy cover.
All right.
Okay, so let's keep going. Thus, when a wise man actually becomes wise after many births and whimsical attempts at self-realization.
Such a Mahatma or learned person knows that Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Learned persons always think that life is wasted unless they worship Lord Krishna or become his devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami also says that when one becomes an advanced devotee, he understands that he should be reserved and perseverant, shanti, and that he should engage in the service of the Lord and not waste time. Avyartha kalavtvam.
Mhm.
He should be also detached from all material attraction, virikti, and he should not long for any material respect in return for his activities, mana sunyata. He should be certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him, asha bandha, and he should always be very eager to serve the Lord faithfully. The wise man is always very eager to glorify the Lord by chanting and hearing, and he is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord.
You've
He
given
should
up on
also
reading
be,
the Sanskrit terms.
I gave up on reading the Sanskrit.
Okay.
He should also be attracted to those places where the Lord had his pastimes. These are symptoms of an advanced devotee.
Okay. You know where that's from, right?
That is from Nectar Devotion.
Yeah. Well, from Nectar Devotion, which is the translation of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
This is coming from a book written by Rupa Goswami that's really essential. I think in one sense, if any book defines what's unique about our lineage, it may be the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, which gives such a special presentation of bhakti. But here he's saying that there are 9 symptoms by which you can see if one is like kind of well, he says these are symptoms of an advanced devotee, one who's really transformed. You can fake that kind of stuff. People do it all the time.
Sure.
Right.
Fake it right now.
But people do, like they try to they pose themselves as like deeply spiritual leaders or whatever, and you can just sometimes look right through this, but people buy into it. He's saying that even there are external symptoms, right? And the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu speaks about this. Like there are involuntary bodily symptoms that one who's experiencing deep levels of bhakti, the tears, the voice becoming choked up, the hair standing on end, like goosebumps, and these different things. But some of that stuff you can fake, and people do it. You've seen this in Vrindavan, Raghunath?
I don't pass judgment. So
Right.
I say maybe they're pure. I don't know. Okay. I've seen people do those symptoms, but I'm not going to pass judgment because I'm in Vrindavan. And I have nothing to gain by saying this person's bogus.
Okay, fair enough.
Let them have their experience.
Fair enough.
That's my mood.
Okay. But what Rupa Goswami is saying is that it can be imitated, right? Those external symptoms can be imitated. So what do you look for when you're trying to see if someone's actually deeply spiritual? Well, he says, right, and you know what? It's just like Bruce Lee. It's not the external things. It's the internal life that's being spoken about here, right?
It's the theme.
It's
life.
Thank you, that inner theme, right? So here it's beginning to say that person should be reserved in perseverance, shanti, right? In other words, those external things that drive the rest of us crazy, we start freaking out. They don't freak out over that stuff, right? So and then they don't waste time, right? They're always engaged. Like they're not. Look how they spend their time.
Yeah, it's not like they're just okay. I've been working in Wall Street. It's been crazy. It's been stressful. I was a CEO of this corporation. I had so many people working, and then next thing you know, no, I'm going to just be a sadhu and do nothing. I'm going to move to Costa Rica. I'm going to surf. That's not sadhu. Sadhu doesn't mean I'm doing nothing. It means you can be always engaged and be a sadhu and be a holy person. You're not wasting valuable time. It doesn't mean you're like not. Definitely the stress will change. Stress levels will change, but the substance of your work radically changes.
Mm-hmm.
You become fueled. We were saying the other day that it's not the workload that's stressing us out, is we're not doing things that actually inspire us any longer, things that bring us to spirit.
Right. Yeah. And when you're tasting that, like when you actually have some real, well, here it says, later on it says, actually, the wise person is always very eager to glorify the Lord by chanting and hearing. And then the name for that is nama, gane, Sada ruchi, right? Ruchi means like taste. It's actually there's some flavor there. Sada ruchi means like all the time.
Sadaruchi.
Sada ruchi.
Hey, I'll work
Yeah.
my ass off for Krishna. I'll work
Okay.
I'll work crazy for Krishna. That's how we will work for Krishna.
Yeah.
That's okay. You just study. Me and Mara were reading the Lilamrita yesterday for a little bit, just short. No, we were reading.
Chasing Rhinos.
Oh, Chasing Rhinos yesterday. It's like
Volume
2.
2.
Okay.
Such a good book.
So
Such a good book. It was like one unbelievable thing after another. Like the whole book is magic.
So this is a book that is, for people that aren't aware.
Yeah, it's a story about Prabhupada's personal servant,
Memoir.
Shama Sundar, who's been on the show 3 times, I think, 2 or 3 times, and his travels with Prabhupada and what got done in such a short time. Prabhupada wasn't laying back and being a, quote, sadhu. He was being a real bhakti yoga sadhu, engaging all his senses, working around the clock, traveling around the globe, directing thousands of people, instructing them, initiating them, teaching the very basics of, how to cook, how to dress, the intricacies of Vedic culture and nuances of Vedic life versus material life. And also managing this massive institution for a bunch of children who know nothing.
Writing books.
And writing, translating, and getting these books published in a very short window of time. It's actually unbelievable.
Starting farm communities, opening temples, starting schools.
It's a miracle. And we were just reading yesterday about how he got into the Soviet Union and planted seeds for bhakti in 5 days. He had 5 days to do it. To even get into the behind the Iron Curtain was like a miracle. He somehow got in and created an entire underground movement in the Soviet Union. It's unbelievable. So how did I get on that?
Something about not wasting time.
Sadhu doesn't. We tend to think sadhu means just kicking back. I'm doing nothing, smoking a little ganja, or taking a nap by the Ganges. No, bhakti means we're fully engaging our senses and our mind, our intelligence, our talents, all in a divine way. And it can appear very busy, but it's not very busy doing nothing. It's very busy doing something. Another Shelter song, by the way. It always goes back to Shelter.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is a good one. Nothing. Shelter lyrics. Okay, ready?
Hit it.
Shelter. Okay, ready? The masses slave. The masses slave at their occupations, surrendered to their boss and all of their dictations, never questioning their situation. And as each day flies by, so does their life's duration. You never asked why, but you got a career, and it's 9 to 5 year after year. Is there a point behind mindless determination? Is there a goal behind all of our aggravation? It's labeled success, but it seems like sheer frustration. It's like running a race that's got no destination. You never asked why, but you got this career, and it's 9 to 5 year after year. Work like a dog, beg for your fee. The money you've gained is used to maintain things you don't need. You desire to acquire all that you see. You're getting more entangled, although you thought that you'd be free.
You were just knocking down the facade of material life.
Don't be busy doing nothing. That was written as a brahmachari.
Nice. Chapu has shared something here on the board. This is from the purport to Srila Prabhupada's purport to first canto of Bhagavatam, chapter 16.
She just comes up with this Chapu. She just comes up with this stuff.
She
posted on the board. She's like waiting. They're going to talk about doing nothing, and I'm ready.
This is good. And this is right on point. Okay, this is Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is referring to this particular quality of yarta kalatvam, that they don't waste, that an advanced spiritualist doesn't waste a moment, right? And he says, therefore it is said, that those who are Krishna conscious, they must measure every moment, right? And this is how an advanced bhakti yogi is analyzing. This is part of their internal theme, right? They're analyzing how they spend their own time. Every moment, he says, whether this moment has been spent without Krishna consciousness, that is the criterion of yarta kalatvam namagane sadaruchi. This is that he was just listing those 9. You know, he listed 1, 2. He says this is the test of advanced Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami gives avyarta kalatvam. Avyarta kalatvam means whether my time has been spent uselessly. One should be alert whether my time has been uselessly spent by talking nonsense. Right? Am I picking up on it? Am I learning the lessons? Am I talking about the things that are leading to my evolution? And if I don't evolve, then it's repeat. You do it again, you know. If you're lucky, you do it in a human body. You may not even have the opportunities of the human body next time. Think about that. It's not heresy, Raghunath, right? It's important stuff here.
I know. If you, but you know, I put it in like a new person's shoes. It's like, I don't believe in that. But yeah, if all that is saying is true, you could go back to a species where you don't even know what the hell you are. You want to get stuck as an earthworm? I want to come back as a dove. You might come back as an earthworm, friend. That's what you talk. Dove.
And dove may not be as great as you think.
Are you kidding? Hawks take doves down all the time.
I see what I'm telling you. Whew, I've been
Google
seeing
that one. YouTube search that one.
I've been seeing some of that nature's metal stuff lately.
Oh my god!
That it's just getting more brutal.
It's more brutal. Which one did you see?
It was horrible. It was like a pack of hyenas like tearing.
Oh, I saw that one.
Oh man!
Pack of hyenas just tearing apart
it's
that
like,
deer.
Can't you just kill the thing quick? And it's like,
just kill it. Just let the boss hyena come over, just snap his head off. No, they're eating it alive.
Oh, it's brutal.
Mara, good morning. She's like, oh, why did they go there? But you know what? I think it's important to see. It makes you realize that the material world isn't as romantic as we'd like to paint it out to be.
That's right.
In our bubble of peace that we live in.
Sometimes we got to contemplate these things.
Yeah, it's important.
Okay.
All right, where are we? Oh, it's 7:00. It's time for a nugget, Mara. It's time. It's time for a takeaway, Mara. It's time for a takeaway goodie. You know what I like about Catholic Church is they always do things like la 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 la.
I thought that was a Morsi thing you were doing or something like that.
No. It's
it's a Catholic Church thing.
Oh, Mara, please give us a takeaway. Please.
All right.
A good eve to reflect on. Everyone with the Catholic Mass knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Add one good habit.
Add one good habit.
Add one good habit.
You don't
and
like
what?
that? Add one good habit.
Add one good habit. Yeah.
It was yours.
No, that's pretty good. Okay. That's great.
Like every day or like once
Add
a month?
one good habit.
We are indebted to our teachers' teachers.
This is a truth.
Focus all our good qualities to Krishna.
Focus all your good qualities to Krishna.
Evolve or repeat.
Evolve or repeat.
Get off the hamster wheel.
And also with you.
Don't be whimsical and let this opportunity slip past. We're in very rare and favorable circumstances.
We're in very rare and favorable circumstances.
Yeah, put a positive spin on it. Let's move forward.
Yeah, come on.
It's a beautiful ship. Float the damn thing.
It's a beautiful ship. Float. That's yes. Yes. You know, you're dealing with somebody that's struggling. Can't pull the trigger. It's a beautiful ship you got going. Float it.
Work like crazy for Krishna.
I'll work like crazy for Krishna.
And you might come back as an earthworm.
Yeah, or worse, a dove. I'm free.
Or-
I'm free. I'm free.
or like that-
Uh-oh.
That poor
hawk of
whatever
time.
it was. Oh, that poor thing that was getting eaten by those jackals. Oh,
The hawk
was it
of
hyenas or
time.
jackals? What were they?
They're just like these African wild dogs. I don't even know.
I mean, it was just like, oh, jeez, come on, finish it off.
Disastrous world. It's